Hey, it's Elizabeth from Beyond Book Solutions, and today we need to talk about something that dropped in the construction accounting world that honestly has me pretty excited, but also a little skeptical at the same time. So if you're a construction company doing over $10 million in revenue, QuickBooks released something that could either save you thousands of hours every single year, or it could end up being one of the most expensive mistakes that you make. I spent the last week really diving deep into Intuit Enterprise Suite, and by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly whether this thing is worth the 12 to 15 grand price tag. Yep, you heard that right. We're talking about some serious money here. And if you're one of those people who's currently managing multiple entities in separate QuickBooks files, and you're constantly logging in and out and doing all these manual journal entries, you are definitely going to want to stick around until the end, because this might actually solve that nightmare for you. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, let me tell you what actually happened here and why Intuit even created this thing in the first place. Intuit has been watching huge construction companies outgrow QuickBooks Online. Like, it's been happening over and over again. A construction company would start out, they'd be doing maybe $1 million, $2 million in revenue. QuickBooks Online is working great for them. But then they started growing. They hit 15 million, 20 million. They start adding multiple LLCs because their CPA told them to set up a holding company and maybe a couple of real estate entities for their properties. And suddenly QuickBooks Online just can't keep up anymore. It's not built for that level of complexity. So what would these companies do? Well, they'd leave. They'd go to NetSuite or Sage Intacct or some other big ERP system. And Intuit was just losing all these customers, and they knew it was a problem. So that's why they created Intuit Enterprise Suite. It launched in September 2024, so it's still pretty new. We're talking only, several months old, but essentially it's QuickBooks Online on steroids. That's really the best way I can describe it. It's built specifically for mid-market businesses. So we're talking about companies doing anywhere from 10 million to 50 million in revenue, managing multiple entities, maybe 20 to 200 employees. That's the sweet spot. So what makes a difference? Well, let me give you the quick rundown of the key features that actually matter for construction companies. First, you've got multi-entity management, which means you can manage all of your companies in one single system. No more separate QuickBooks files. Everything is in one place. Second, you've got advanced job costing with milestones. So you can actually track your projects by phase, like foundation, framing, finishing, whatever phases you use in your business. And you can see estimated versus actual costs for each phase as the project is happening. Third thing is multi-dimensional reporting. This is huge. You can track your financials by project, phase, location, customer time, by whatever dimensions matter to your business. You can have up to 20 different dimensions, which is honestly kind of good. And then it also includes built-in payroll, HR, time tracking, bill pay, all of that stuff is integrated. So you're not jumping between 5 different systems anymore. And of course, they're marketing it as AI powered with all these automations. We're going to talk about that later because I have some thoughts on the whole AI thing, and I'm going to be honest with you about what's actually useful and what's just the marketing hype. But that's the overview. That's what Intuit Enterprise Suite is trying to be. All right, so now let's talk about the 3 biggest problems that it actually solves for construction companies, because this is where it gets interesting. So problem number 1 is the multiple entry nightmare. And if you're running an operating company, a holding company, and maybe 2 or 3 real estate LLCs for your properties, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is painful. Right now, if you're using QuickBooks Online, you're probably paying for 5 separate subscriptions. You're logging in and out constantly. You're doing manual intercompany transactions. You're trying to remember, okay, did I already record the due to, due from this transaction? Did I do it in both companies? And then at the end of the month, you are trying to consolidate everything in Excel, and it's just a mess. With Enterprise Suite, all of that goes away. You can see a consolidated profit and loss across all of your entities in one dashboard. You can switch between companies with literally one click. The best part is when you do an intercompany transaction, it automatically creates the due to and due from journal entries in both companies for you. You don't have to do it manually anymore. I'm not exaggerating when I say this could save you 10 to 15 hours every single month. And if you're paying a bookkeeper or an accountant to do this work, that's real money that you're saving. Problem number 2 is job costing. And look, QuickBooks Online's job costing is pretty good. It works if it's set up correctly, but if you're doing complex commercial work or custom homes with multiple phases, it may not be enough for you. QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise is better, don't get me wrong, but desktop is dying platform. Intuit stopped selling QuickBooks Desktop Pro and Premier in 2024. Enterprise is next. They want everyone on the cloud, and it's only a matter of time before they pull the plug completely. So with Enterprise Suite, you get advanced job costing that's actually built for construction. You can track by milestones or phases. So let's say you're doing a huge commercial build. You can set up phase 1 as foundation, phase 2 as framing, phase 3 as EM, whatever makes sense for your projects. And then as you're going through the project, you can see estimated cost versus your actual cost for each phase. So if you're budgeted $50,000 for framing and you are already at $45,000 and you're only halfway done, you're going to see that in real time. You're not going to find out 3 months later when the project's over and you've already lost money. They also have these AI-powered profitability alerts that will actually notify you when a project is trending off track. Now, I haven't tested this enough to tell you how accurate it is, but the concept is really solid. And then problem number 3 is reporting. How many times have you had to export your data to Excel just to create a report that your banker or your bonding company can actually read and understand? It's frustrating, right? With Enterprise Suite, you can run consolidated reports across all the entities. So consolidated profit and loss, consolidated balance sheet, consolidated cash flow statement, all of that is built in. But here's where it gets really cool. You can also run multi-dimensional reports. So let's say you want to see a profit and loss broken down by customer type. So you want to see, okay, how much money am I making on residential projects versus commercial projects versus government projects? You can do that. You want to see profitability by location? You can do that. You want to see it by project manager? You can do that too. You can slice your data 20 different ways without ever touching a spreadsheet. And for someone like me who lives in spreadsheets, that's saying something. They also have these management reports where you can package everything up into a board-ready financial presentation. So if you need to present to your leadership team or your board or your investors, you can create a professional looking report just inside the system. You don't have to pull everything into PowerPoint and spend 3 hours formatting it. So those are the 3 big problems that it solves: multi-entity management, advanced job costing, and reporting that actually makes sense. All right, so now let's do a comparison, because I know a lot of you are probably wondering, okay, how does this actually stack up against QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise and against QuickBooks Online Advanced? Because those are the 2 main options that construction companies are using right now. So I'm going to put a comparison table up on the screen and let's walk through this together. First, let's talk about QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise. Look, Desktop Enterprise is powerful. I'm not going to sit here and trash it because it's been the go-to for construction companies for many years, and for a good reason. The job costing is solid, the reporting is good, it works, but Intuit is phasing it out. They stopped selling Pro and Premier last year. Enterprise is next on the chopping block. They want everyone on the cloud because that's where they can charge subscription fees and keep you locked in forever. So if you're on desktop right now, you probably have maybe 2 or 3 years before you're forced to migrate anyway. So the question isn't really going whether you need to move, it's where to move. The other issue with desktop, it's not cloud-based, which means you can't access it from anywhere. You're tied to your computer in the office, which is a pain. Now let's talk about QuickBooks Online Advanced. This is great for single entity businesses that are doing under $15 million in revenue. It's cloud-based, it's easy to use, it's affordable. It costs about $3,000 a year, which is pretty reasonable, but the second you add a second LLC, you're paying for multiple subscriptions. So if you have 3 entities, you're paying $9,000 a year just for QuickBooks Advanced, and you're still doing all those manual consolidations and intercompany transactions yourself. And the job costing in Online Advanced is good for simple projects, but it's not built for complex construction work with multiple phases and change orders and all that stuff. And then we have Enterprise Suite. Yes, it's expensive. We're talking $12,000 to $15,000, which is 4 to 5 times more than QuickBooks Online Advanced. But if you're managing 3 or more entities, you're probably already paying almost $9,000 or more for separate QuickBooks subscription. That's if you're using Advanced. What is the best way to structure a lot of the entities? So You can get the advanced QuickBooks for the LLCs that you're doing a lot of job costing for. This is your main operational construction company. But if you have some LLCs where you just hold properties or doing a little bit less work than that, you don't have to get QuickBooks Online Advanced. You can just get QuickBooks Online Plus or Essentials, and that will save you money. And with Enterprise Suite, you're getting a lot more than just the software. You get dedicated onboarding, which is pretty big because migrating financial data is not fun. You get a dedicated success manager who is with you throughout the entire process, and you get quarterly features updates. So the product is constantly getting better. And the other thing I want to mention is that Enterprise Suite is built on the same platform as QuickBooks Online. So the interface is really similar. If you're already using online, you're not going to have to learn a completely new system. That's a big deal because training your team on new software is expensive and time consuming. So to sum it up, Desktop Enterprise is powerful but is dying. QuickBooks Online Advanced is great for single entity businesses, and Enterprise Suite is built for growing construction companies with multiple entities who need more advanced features but don't want to jump to something like NetSuite, which is way more complex and way more expensive. All right, now let's talk about the cons, because I promised you I was going to be honest, and I'm not here to just sell you on this thing. There are some real issues that you need to know about before you make a decision. Con number one, this software is brand new. That means there are going to be bugs. There are going to be features that don't work quite right yet. There are going to be things that are frustrating. If you need a battle-tested, mature system that you know is going to work perfectly from day one, this might not be it. Now, Intuit is releasing updates every quarter, so the product is getting better fast, but you need to go into this knowing that you're kind of an early adapter, and that comes with some risk. Con number two, the AI hype is overblown. Intuit is marketing this as AI powered, and they're making it sound like it's going to revolutionize the entire business. And I'm just going to be real with you. The AI features are pretty basic. They have AI invoice reminders, which is just automated reminders. That's not revolutionary. That's been around for years. They say they have AI-powered dimension categorization, which is actually kind of cool. It will automatically categorize your transactions based on past behavior. But to be honest, those are just the regular suggestions that QuickBooks gets wrong 50% of the time. It's not going to replace your bookkeeper. You still need a human to review everything and make sure that it's correct. So don't buy this thinking that AI is going to do all the accounting for you. It's not. It's going to help with some repetitive tasks, but you still need people who know what they're doing. Con number three, and this is a big one for me, you're still dealing with Intuit. And if you're used to QuickBooks for any length of time, you know that their customer support can be really frustrating. You can call them, get transferred 5 times, you're on hold for an hour, and half the time the person you're talking to doesn't even understand your question. Intuit also raises prices constantly. They killed QuickBooks Desktop even though they had over 1 million users who loved it. They don't really care about loyalty. They care about moving everyone to subscription models where they can keep charging you more every year. Now with Enterprise Suite, you do get a dedicated success manager, which is supposed to be better than regular support. But I haven't tested that long term yet, so I can't tell you if it's actually good or it's just marketing. I'm not saying don't use it. I'm just saying go into this with your eyes open and know who you're dealing with. And then con number 4, right now you can't drill down in consolidated reports. So let's say you run a consolidated transaction report across all your entities and you see a transaction that looks weird. In regular QuickBooks, you would just double click on it and it would open up the transaction so you could see all the details. You can't do that in Enterprise Suite yet because the transaction might be in a different entity and the system would have to log you out of one company and log you into another company, and they haven't figured out how to make that work smoothly yet. So right now you can see the data, but you can't easily drill down into it. That's a pretty big workflow issue, especially if you're trying to research something or fix an error. They're working on it, but it's not there yet. So those are the cons. It's new. The AI is overhyped. You're dealing with Intuit, and some of the reporting functionality isn't quite there yet. Okay, so now let's talk about who should actually use this thing, because it's not for everyone. And I want to be really clear about this so you don't waste your time or money. Enterprise Suite Suite is perfect for construction companies doing $10 million to $50 million in revenue. That's the sweet spot. If you're smaller than that, you probably don't need it yet. If you're bigger than that, you might need something even more robust like a NetSuite. It's perfect for businesses with 3 or more entities. So if you've got an operating company, a holding company, and a couple of real estate LLCs, this is going to make your life a lot easier. It's perfect for companies that are outgrowing QuickBooks Online, but you're not ready for the complexity of NetSuite, because NetSuite is powerful, but it's very complicated and really expensive. Enterprise Suite is kind of that middle ground. It's perfect for contractors who want to stay in the QuickBooks ecosystem. If you're already using QuickBooks and you like it and you're comfortable with it, this is a natural next step. You don't have to learn a completely new system, and it's perfect for businesses that need advanced job costing with milestones. If you're doing complex projects where you need to track costs by phase and you need to see profitability in real time, it's built for that. Now, who is this not for? It's not for single entity businesses doing under $10 million in revenue. If that's you, just stick with QuickBooks Online Advanced. It's way cheaper and it's going to do everything that you need. It's not for manufacturers or distributors who need really robust inventory management. Enterprise Suite's inventory features are okay, but they're not as strong as some other systems out there. It's not for companies that need a proven, mature system right now. If you can't afford to deal with bugs or missing features, wait for a year or two until Enterprise Suite is more established. And it's not for businesses that can't afford $12,000 to $15,000 a year on software. I mean, that's just the reality. If it's not in your budget, that's okay. There are other options. All right, so let me give you my final take on this whole thing. I think Intuit Enterprise Suite is the future of QuickBooks for construction. I really do. Is it perfect? No, it's new, it has bugs, AI is overblown, there are some features that aren't quite there yet. But if you're managing multiple entities and you are already in the QuickBooks ecosystem, this is a game changer. The job costing is solid, the reporting is powerful, and the fact that it's built on the same platform as QuickBooks Online, it means you're not starting from scratch with training. So here's what I recommend you do. First, calculate what you're actually spending on QuickBooks right now. Add up all the subscriptions, all your add-ons, and all the time that bookkeeper or accountant is spending on manual consolidations. You might be surprised at how much it actually costs. And second, request a demo. You can get a demo from Intuit directly, but I actually recommend going through a reseller instead. Resellers can often help you with migration and setup, and they usually have more experience with the product than Intuit's sales team. And third, if you're on QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise, start planning your exit strategy now. You probably have 2 or 3 years max before Intuit stops supporting it completely. So start thinking about where you want to go and what you need to do to get there. And look, if you're a construction company and you need help figuring out if Enterprise Suite is right for you, or if you need help migrating your books, that's what we do at Beyond Book Solutions. We specialize in construction accounting, and we're one of the few firms that's already trained on Enterprise Suite. You can book a free consultation with us. The link is in the description. We'll look at your current setup, we'll talk about your goals, and we'll tell you honestly whether this makes sense for you or if you should look at something else. We're not going to try to sell you something that you don't need. We just want to help you make the right decision for your business, right? If this video was helpful, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.